Module 4. In this module, we cover motivation and emotion and stress and health. So this is 2 chapters in our book, Chapter 7 on motivation and emotion, and Chapter 14 in your textbook on health psychology. For this week, the main focus is to understand some of the factors that motivate us. So there are 4 primary factors involved. We are motivated by biological needs, we're motivated by cognitive factors, by social factors, and by emotional factors. So make sure you understand those and how they motivate us. We'll also discuss 3 theories of motivation in this chapter. We'll talk about arousal, instinct theory, and then drive reduction theory and arousal theory, and kind of compare and contrast those and how they play into explaining why a person might be motivated to do something. Also in this chapter, I'd like you to focus on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There's a link to a video that is actually a lecture by somebody other than me. Give you the opportunity to see someone else in a video clip describing Maslow's hierarchy, and then another opportunity to view a lecture on the Yerke-Dodson law and how that plays into arousal theory. For the discussion this week, there are I think there's one opportunity to try to apply the Yerke-Dodson law to using stimulant drugs actually to treat attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So why might stimulant drugs, contrary to intuition, be helpful in treating some children who may be already hyperactive? So that's sort of an interesting option. For the remainder of this module, then I'd like to focus on the impact of stress on health. And so we'll spend quite a bit of time going over the stress response and Hans Selye's model of the general adaptation syndrome, which tries to explain in biological terms the stress response and then our psychological reaction to that. So definitely in the discussion too, you'll get the opportunity in 2 different ways to practice understanding that biology of the stress response, that fight or flight response. So definitely understand that. The HPA axis, or hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, that release of hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, and how that all plays into our physiological stress response. And then talking or applying that to the psychological aspects of stress. So based on that physical reaction, how do we psychologically respond and also physically respond? So understanding the impact of stress on health. The homework assignment gives you the opportunity to practice that by actually producing, using a variety of mediums. You'll see in the link to the homework assignment some creative ways that you might create a brochure to inform people on the impact of stress on health and how we may be able to overcome that. So some potential behavioral interventions, maybe even using some of the principles that you learned from the last module of classical or operant conditioning to try to help people alleviate some of those health impacts on stress. There are 2 practice quizzes from here, one from Chapter 7 on motivation and emotion, one from Chapter 14 on health psychology, and then the module test. They'll have questions from both. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to email or call at any time, and have a great week. Enjoy this module.